Hey everybody. All right, so lately we have been doing some work on triads, right? And I think we did a video where we went through all the triads in the key of A, on the three middle strings, for example. And it occurred to me that there's a learning curve there. We have to learn new shapes, and we got to kind of learn about these new chords. And for a lot of us, me included, when I started, I'd been in, playing a couple of years. I wasn't ready for that yet. It took me so long to be able to play without looking my open chords and fret them properly and things like that. Now I'm barely into that, and I got to learn all these other things too. And then part B of that inquiry is, well, if I do all that work, which could take me days, weeks, months, maybe another year to perfect, how do I use it? What do I get out of this? Right? Because at the end of the day, we don't need triads or bar chords or anything else. I keep saying that because it's true. All we need is a few open chords from the same key, and we are playing all kinds of music. So this is just, well, part of the evolution of learning the guitar. The more techniques we take on, the more rounded of a guitar player. It doesn't mean we're going to be better, but the more versatile, the more rounded we'll be. Okay? We'll have more weapons in our bag to use. So today what I want to look at is, first of all, I want to tell you, before we start learning all these new shapes and chords and everything, we want to find out how they're going to help us and how we're going to implement this newfound skill set, right? And most importantly, there's a really good chance that we may not have to learn new shapes, okay, until further down the line when we'll be more confident and more experienced and the learning curve will be easier. And what I mean by that is there's a good chance, in fact, if you've been watching my videos closely, you already play and have learned triads, yet you don't know that you're playing triads. So for example, we did a video of playing open chords up the neck. I think one of them was called Get the F Up the Neck, and the other one I believe was just called Playing Open Chords Up the Neck or something along those lines. And what it did was it showed us that we can move our open chords that we already have invested so much time in and play them elsewhere on the neck. And when we do that, if we only strum the strings that we're fretting in that chord, we're actually, more often than not, playing a triad. So you can see now that what I mean by what we don't know that we already know, there's a good chance that you all know a certain amount of triads, you just don't know that you know them. And that's what we're going to address here, all right? So let's start off with something. Before we get into how and why I need this and how I'm going to use it, let's go over a couple of things as a refresher. And remember, I know can only relate to my experience. I first said after about 3 years, maybe I should learn some of these triads. And so I did what you guys do. I watched videos, I read books and articles and internet Googles and all this kind of stuff. And, well, I got to be honest, it was just overwhelming. Flat thirds and perfect fifths. I'm like, what? And then there's, this shape here, but, you can only play that shape on these three strings. And then on these three strings, you got to play another shape to get that. And then that's only good. Oh, it was just mind-boggling. And I just didn't understand it because, like many of you, I have no prior musical knowledge, no theory, I played a lot of music when I was 15 or anything. There was none of that. So this was all green to me. And I know there's some of you are like that right now, okay? So I thought, well, I don't really want to get into that because now I could be opening up this whole other can of worms, and like what happened to me with scales and bar chords and stuff like that, it set me back. It didn't excel me. So instead, right, I remembered that I had seen or someone told me or something about if I play a D chord here, okay, and I move it here and play the same thing, but I only fret those 3 strings that or I only strum the 3 strings that I'm fretting, then I'm actually playing a G triad. So then I thought, okay, well, in guitar, if this is a G and I move it up 2 frets, don't I have an A? And of course the answer was yes. So all of a sudden I know how to play a G triad. Same shape as I play the D, but here it's called a G. So I didn't have to learn a new shape, just where to play it. And then once I learned that, then I could move up to A, B, A, and I could go backwards, right? Why couldn't that be an F and a G? Well, it is. So now I've just learned a few triads with no new shapes and really no new theory or anything like that. So then I thought, okay, what if I take an A and I move that up 2 frets and I only play those 3 strings that I'm fretting? Don't I have a B? So I did a video on it way back. And people were like, what? No, that's not possible. And I got roasted and you're this, you're that, you're showing people wrong. Well, no, it turns out that that's a B triad. Okay? And it can be used to replace the dreaded B bar chord, which I hate playing to this day. I have no problems with B minor, okay? I play a good A and a G, and I play some good bar chords, but I cannot nail consistently that B. So anyways, I don't want to get into that, but I thought, well, that would be great because that would replace my bar chord. So now I got my A and I got my B, and of course what happens is, what if I go up 1 fret? Well, now I got my C and my D, and these are triads, and I can keep going, and there's a triad E. So think of what we've just done now in the last 3 minutes. We've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we go forget F, no reason other than we know that it's going to be right here, or right here. Then we go right here, and there's our G. So I've got all those new triads. I didn't have to learn anything, and those are real triads. Okay? So now I'm thinking, hey, like, this is pretty cool. So now what can I do with these triads, right? Then I thought, all right, what else did we cover in any of my videos that I've ever posted about this type of subject? Well, I think in the actual triad video, we learned that A minor shape on the same strings moved up is a B minor, which is a C sharp minor, and then it broke into that D, which I just showed you, and the E. Okay? So now, if we just use that, I know that this is a B minor. Sorry, here, this is a B minor. And this is a C sharp minor. So now I've got 2 more triads to add to my... It's only been 4 minutes, okay? No new shapes. Just playing those shapes in different places produces a triad. So I don't have to learn anything. It's all there, right? Okay. So let's just take one more as an example that I think we covered it in one of the live streams, and that is we take our E major chord, and I think I opened this video with it. We take our E major fingering of the chord, and we play up here, and that's an A. So if we go 2 more, what do we got? You guessed it, we got a B. So now, and all these are, these fingerings, there's your A bar chord. So we play the E shape in front of the bar. Well, that's all we're doing. There's our A triad. Played only those 3 strings that are, in this case, fretted with these 3 fingers, and you're welcome to continue doing that. Or I can just... could just throw the E shape on there as normal. So I have an option there, whatever's more comfortable to me. Okay, it's good to learn both ways. So in a pinch, you can always switch over, right, and play in case you want to put the bar down for another reason. Okay, so now I got these two chords here, A and B, played with the E shape, and I got my G that I know how to play, and I got all these chords here, right? B, C, D, E, G. Wow. So again, look at the list of triads that I have just learned without learning anything, with just kind of pulling stuff out of the pantry that we had locked away, that we probably forgot about. Sometimes it's because you weren't interested in it or you weren't technically there yet to be able to do it, so you just kind of push that video aside, and that's cool. But look, it's all there, and we haven't had to learn another shape. So now let's get how we can start incorporating these into our everyday playing the way we play now, which is basically open chords, the odd bar chord, but we basically are playing open chords, right? So let's take one of those progressions. Well, let's take both of them just to cover. So we'll take A, or E, A, and D. And for those of you that play E, A, and B, let's take those. Or maybe you play your B here. So you play E, A, B, right? However you do it. It's a very popular progression, especially if you're playing blues, right? 12-bar blues. Okay. So the first thing I recommend is, like anything, keep it slow, keep it simple, keep it easy at first. So let's take our G, C, D chord progression played in any order, all right? We just take one of those chords and supplement or replace it with a bar chord or a triad. So we take our G, play it normally, our C. Now, instead of playing our open D, we know we have a D right here. So we play G, C, D triad, there's one way, okay? Now, remember, we got a D here, and the theory of guitar is, then that's an E, and that would be a C. So now we can go C, now we've replaced two chords. Now you notice the voicings are different, and they're meant to be different. They're a thinner, I call them thinner, tinnier chord, because we're only playing 3 strings, where, as we've mentioned before, up here we're playing all 6 strings. When we're repeating, we're just repeating the notes. Some of them are played twice, and it gives it a thicker sound. There's no new notes. There's no different notes. We're just repeating the same notes twice when we play all 6 strings. So they're going to sound fuller, deeper, richer here than they will here. It's weaker, tinnier, higher pitch too, right? Because as we go up the neck, the pitch is higher. But look, we've replaced 1 and now 2 open chords with a triad. Now, if we want to go the whole way, no problem. What did we learn? We learned that the D played here is a G. So here we have our G, C, here we go. G, C, D, G, C, all triads. So we get a different sound. And more importantly, now we can play along with another guitar player that's playing G, C, D. We could play G, C, D and play along with them. Keep it controlled. Make sure that you're only strumming those 3 strings. That's the important part, okay? And you can play along with anybody playing open chords, or if they're playing bar chords. In fact, it could be 3 of you. One playing open chords, G, C, D, the other one playing bar chords, and then you're playing your triads. Okay? That's how we would use them. Now, let's look at the other chord progression. E, and E, A, B. Let's do the B one first because that gets rid of that ugly bar chord that nobody likes to play. Now, look, you should still learn your bar chords. You should still learn how to play your B. I'm not saying don't ever, go your whole life playing guitar and not know how to play a B bar chord. That's not what I'm saying here. All I'm saying is sometimes, especially if you're playing a quicker song with a lot of chord changes, sometimes it's just easier and safer to play that simple B as opposed to this where maybe you're going to clunk a string or mishit, right? That's all I'm saying here. So let's look at this. E, A, B. Okay, so we know we have an E here. E, right? We know we have an A here because this is a G. So now we have E, A. Now all we need, we could play our B here as a B bar chord. So we have E, A, or we could just go here and play the B here. Okay? Or we could play E, A, using the bar chord method, right? But as far as triads go, then we could play E, A, B. Or we could play E, A. Now let's go find a D. Well, there's one right here. So we could play E, that's it. That's how you do it. That's why you do it. Or not really answers why. Why you do it is we've sort of talked about it in that allows us to play along with other guitar players without stepping on each other's toes. It produces a slightly different voicing of the chord. And then later on, when you get more into playing notes and scales and things like that, you'll realize that you can sort of use a couple of triads while you pick out certain right? So we have the G chord, we have the G note, we can play right? We have some versatility in our playing. That's it. Triads makes it easier to convert to and from notes, So I hope you got out of this what it was meant to, and that you know more than you know. And if we start pulling knowledge that we've sort of passed over or maybe even forgotten about or wasn't really pertinent to us at the time because we weren't able to do it or didn't understand it, but now we are, let's pull that stuff back like we just did. And all of a sudden we've added 8, 10 triads into our repertoire. So I hope this helps. I hope it answers a couple of questions. And by all means, we're going to continue learning triads, and I encourage you to learn some new shapes, absolutely, but when you're ready. But right now you have enough ammunition to get by playing triads without having to sacrifice and go through all the learning curve again. We're already there, right? Okay. So as usual, thank you so much for your ongoing support, and I hope this sort of sheds a new light on triads. And if you haven't subscribed, do so already. And remember, it is all about the practice. So we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.